Are we allowed to show guns? Because I'm going to put it in my mouth after watching this shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, little space teddy bear murder bears of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Late to the Party, where we have this Star Wars gem brought to us by Liz, and I'm not going to take any blame. This is Liz's movie that she chose for us to watch.
Let's give credit where credit is due. This is James Dunn's fault. This is not my fault. I just facilitated.
No, we're blaming you. We're blaming you.
You're supposed to protect us.
No, because when it comes back around tomorrow morning, we're watching the sequel.
Caravan of Courage.
No.
The first Ewok adventure. And the Caravan of Courage is... Oh my god.
Caravan of garbage, dude. What this is?
November 25th, 1984.
Fuck.
When a family's spacecraft crashes on the forest moon of planet Endor, teenage son Mace and his little sister Cindel find themselves separated from their parents. Soon those lost children encounter the Ewoks, a small and furry warriors who call the moon home. That's how it's written. I didn't read it wrong. With the help of these adorable yet fearless natives, brother and sister set out on a quest to rescue their parents from the grip of a vicious monster known as the Gorax. Director John Korty, film series, Star Wars Ewok Adventures, language English. Let's see, 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 21% on Rotten Tomatoes, and like this one for me, the young boy, what was his name? Mace. Eric Walker. So Eric Walker. He's right up there with whatever the boy's name is from Over the Top. Stallone's son.
The kid from Over the Top is on point. This motherfucker, all he did, he had two pitches in his whole dialogue. It was or like it was never in the middle. He never talked normal. He was like that's all I heard throughout that whole fucking movie. The whole movie.
Oh my god! Like
what the fuck?
I thought I didn't like kids with bowl cuts, and then this fucking kid comes on there, and I hate bowl cuts even more. Oh, and I'm just thinking like, what will Liz hate? What movie will Liz hate? So that I can make her fucking watch it. They're doing this to me. Like, I need to come up with the scariest fucking bloodbath of a movie I could ever imagine.
The little girl was even so bad.
But I want her to watch it.
If you watch this movie, if you guys are watching this movie at home, I want you to pay attention to when the little girl is crying. The tears are painted on because she cannot cry. They don't move. They get stuck right here. I thought it was like some sort of 80s glow makeup that she was wearing, and she was like, oh my god, oh god. And then this is what I think happened. Okay, this is how I think this movie got made. George Lucas packed himself a bowl, and he got high. And it was about 1980, and they were just finishing Return of the Jedi. And he saw the gods must be crazy. And he said, I can make one of these with Ewoks. That's what I'm going to do. Because all I kept hearing was that fucking narrator come in, and I was waiting for the guy to come out with a Coca-Cola bottle and smack somebody in the head. I mean, that would have saved the movie. I was like, damn it, dude. Like, what the hell? And then, like...
I can't find the gods must be crazy. I've been trying to use that for my pick. It's not anywhere. You can't even buy it.
I think it's on Prime. I think Prime's got it. I'll look.
Maybe part 2.
Yeah, that one's not good. But and then the part that killed me, like the only part that had me busting up laughing, where I'm gonna give it a point for, was the name of the fucking Ewok with the staff. His name was like Bob or some shit like that. Like everyone was Wicked, fucking this, and then his name was like Bob. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like he got halfway through writing, went, oh fuck it, he's Bob. And he just kept going. Like he had no care in the world about it. I was like, this is so bad. Oh, but from that point on, it just became a silly movie to me. Like I was just like, I'm gonna look at this like I'm gonna try to look at this as like a B movie. I think Satan Claus was better. Whatever the fuck we watched with Goldberg was way better than this. Like, and that acting is horrible in that movie.
Satan Claus,
even the over the top kid deserves an Academy Award compared to Bowl Cut Boy, who can't like his tone. It was his
I think you
tone that was bugging the fuck out of me, where I wanted to slap the shit out of him. Liz, and I figured out why you like this movie.
Okay.
Literally, I'm watching this movie with my arms crossed like this, going like, I know why they're making me watch this. They tricked me into watching another version of Lord of the Rings. That's what the fuck this is. Because guess what they do through the whole fucking movie? They're just walking. They're cruising. We're going. And, let's meet a new friend. Oh, you got a staff? Okay, let's walk it. Let's cruise it. Let's go into the tunnel. Oh, it's a big spider? Shake that motherfucker. Come on, dude. Come on.
No, I know.
You want me to watch it?
To Josh too. I was like, oh look, it's Shelob. Oh look, it's this. Oh look at that. But as a kid, I never saw that. So.
But as a kid, I remember even watching this. This is the second time I've seen this movie. The first time I was a kid when I saw it, and I even remember as a kid watching it, going like,
I didn't like it either.
This sucks. Like
I was like, where's the spaceship? Like, what the fuck?
And the kids looked like, because it was all big on him, it looked like Luke. Okay, this is the other thing I think Lucas did, because he owned Skywalker Ranch. He was like, look, you can have this part of the property. Go out there, film it right there. You know what I mean? If you need props, go into the garage over here. We got extra parts. And so they just threw on old costumes on everybody and then gave her a fucking Xanadu headband and fucking pushed them out there. And then they fucking, went and made the movie. I was like, oh, God, this is so bad.
If it wasn't for Liz moving, I would think that the frame was frozen on Josh and he was having technical difficulties because he hasn't moved one iota.
Just give him you tell him, go Josh, and he'll give it to you.
Josh.
Go, Josh.
They don't make glasses red enough for how it inside. It's not simply that this movie is awful. I mean, you need to understand contextually, this comes on the heels of Return of the Jedi. So somehow, in 1 year's time, they wrapped Return of the Jedi, and then they put out this piece of shit. And it's boggling because there's really no story to speak of. The special effects are like the worst. The blaster that kid had was shooting in like 6 different directions. None of it was straight. And then there was like one where it was like a proton pack. You know what I mean? And it's just like, what is this shit that I'm watching? I mean, like when the Gorax falls into that crevice, it's the first time. It's the worst like effect. He like falls down and like just suddenly like pops out. And then they had him climb back out so that they could do the fall over again, but do it better the second time. And it's just, and the action sequences were so riveting that I was struggling to stay awake. I was, there's horses galloping, and there's the Ewok that's like the barbarian with the axe, and I'm like, huh? Just struggling to pay attention. And what this film really did, and this is surprising for me, because this is the first time that I've seen it. I didn't watch it when I was a kid. And what this did was it put the last bit of spit on the corpse of George Lucas that I had left in my saliva glands. Because what this demonstrated was that the man really didn't have any talent. I'm fully convinced now that when Empire and Return of the Jedi came out, he had surrounded himself with talent. And they made those movies. He didn't have jack and shit to do with it. How do you make those 3 films and then come out with this thing on the heels of it? Within a year? How? How is
and Howard the Duck.
And, there's like things that don't make any sense. First of all, we know where Willow got the idea for that fairy scene with Cher Lindria, right? all those like stupid fairies flying around. But here's the thing. Then he's got this one, and he's like treating it like, oh, it's so cute, and I'm gonna feed it, and this and that. And look, it gets its energy from our laughter. And then he's like, oh, just be free, motherfucker. You sucked up all the rest of them and trapped them in the magic candle, you son of a bitch. They've got nothing to go home to. All her friends are gone. You freed her to what? To die alone? A plus. A plus. My heart feels like that fairy was dying alone.
Yeah, this is horrible. This is horrible. It was bad. When I was a kid, I hated it. When I was a kid, I hated it, and I watched it again, and like I asked like, hey, which Ewok movie we're watching? I was like, hey, this one looks not as bad as the other one. I'm gonna pick this one. You're like, no, I know you're 20 minutes into the other one, but you gotta go back and watch the shittier one. I was like, oh man, and it was brutal. The little girl, I mean, I guess her curls were cute, but then she was so bad that I wanted to like set the curls on fire. It was just brutal.
Well, let's be fair though. She was far better than Jake Lloyd was as young Anakin.
Well, I think that when they were casting Jake Lloyd, they were trying to find. They used this guy with the bowl cut as their. He was the muse. He was the muse for Jake Lloyd.
Well, what it tells us is that when George Lucas casts a role for a young child, like Jake Lloyd or this poor girl, what's her name, Abigail something or other, I felt bad for her because, just as a side note, I saw that after these two movies came out, no one ever bothered 2006. Think about that. Comes out in 1984. It takes 22 years before somebody bothers to come and ask you what it was like. 22 years. So anyway, he's clearly not capable of selecting children to play these roles because, no offense to Jake Lloyd, but he was the wrong casting. If you ever watched the Phantom Menace making of, there was another kid that was like seriously like dark and menacing. And I was like, oh, that kid's definitely no, he went with Jake Lloyd. So I'm sure it was the same thing with this poor girl. It's like, oh, there's these other girls that can actually act. No, we're going to get this one.
Because she looked like the girl from fucking Poltergeist, dude. I was waiting for her to turn and go, "We're here," like that. I was like, God dang, her big old puffy cheeks. Again, she was cute, but that's all it was. It was just the looks. And then same thing I think with a lot of even down to the fucking you were saying the kill scene at the end of the movie, right? The fucking thing crawls up. They shot this thing. The one with the axe hit the thing. It just said, "Ooh, my big toe," and fucking all of a sudden as it's pulling it up, the little kid out of nowhere can be an axe thrower, and he throws the motherfucker. It goes into the thing's back, and that's what killed him. Out of all that shit that happened to it, an axe to him, which would be this fucking big, killed him.
Could axe somebody.
So that's like an.
Not only that, but that was supposed to be his heirloom souvenir. That's like throwing your grandpa's urn at the monster.
And then what even made it more Lord of the Rings? That made me fucking die. I screamed laughing. Oh my god, the end. And Wicket's on the table dancing for dollars and shit. You know what I'm saying? He's doing the hokey pokey, and the parents are all sitting there, and they're all dancing. I'm like, this is just like at the end of Lord of the Rings, where they peek in and everyone's fucking happy and they're sitting there. But the only difference was it cut it real quick instead of going 20 minutes long. So I'll give them that point. They earned another point for that one.
All right, let's get to the buckets. Let's wrap this up. I gotta get this.
Liz is gonna punch us all.
Put this thing to bed. But Liz, I didn't let you talk about the movie. Liz, tell us why you love it.
I've been buried under all this hate. I gotta wade up to the top of it. No, I'm not saying this is a great movie, but for me, it harkens back to its time for me. That's why I like this movie. I was sitting at our Whitegate house, watching it with my dad. This came out in 1984? Yeah. There's an emotional attachment to this movie and the next movie. That's why I I have fun.
There's another one?
But if you, oh yeah, there's a sequel, The Battle for Endor. But and that we'll watch that one. Don't worry.
And she wants us to watch that
I'm
one
never gonna
next.
get a turn again. No, I love. This is a shitty movie. This is a bad movie, but I like it because I remember it brings back memories for me. And that's why I like it. So, and I knew you guys weren't gonna like it.
You think?
You guys are gonna have that same
You
attention.
could have
think?
warned us, dude. Jeez,
I didn't need a warning. I knew it was going to be like this.
I forgot about it. Like it literally you know, like in the movies when the trauma victim sees like a fucking car accident and then like they get flashbacks and shit. It was I started the movie and it was right when the scene when they cut to the parents and they're like, we gotta find them. I was like, oh shit, I know what this is, and I fucking started having a panic attack and shit. My kid was making fun of me because I was walking around the house going like,
this movie's not as
like
good as I remember.
I was like, oh fuck, dude. I was like, this is that one movie. Oh man, how long is it? And I pause it and look and go, okay, I could do an hour and a half. I could do it. I could fucking do it. I could do this. And I hit play and I just sat there the whole time going.
It took me 3 tries. It was like 30 minutes. 30 minutes.
Nah, dude, you gotta watch
And then 30 minutes. 30 minutes, 30. Okay, let's do it. Buckets. This one for me, it made me want to watch Monty Python.
I love Monty Python.
So I was like, give me some coconuts. Give me some fucking coconuts. Give me some coconuts. Like, oh my god, this is so bad. I got an Ewok next to me here. I'm gonna fucking put it away. 0. This is 0. This is 0 buckets for me. And if I was fuzzy, I would go in reverse and.
Oh, you're going the way I'm going. Trust me, dog. Trust me.
0 for me.
I'm going with started at a -15. Okay, as soon as the credits rolled, -15 right off the bat. Boom. But what saved this movie, and I'm gonna give it a 1.
I changed mine to -1.
It was in focus. That's all I'm gonna give.
It was in focus.
It was in focus, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, other than that, man, look. Whew. It was a rough fucking thing. And like I said earlier, if I was able to show a gun here, that's how we would have started. I would have just had it in my mouth going like, don't make me do it again. Like that was. So yeah, I'm giving it. You know what? Fuck it. I'm a good-hearted guy. 1.5, dude. Boom. 1.5. There it is, dude.
-1.5.
Remember where you sleep.
Remember where you sleep. Well, look, going off of Nate's criteria, it actually gets a 1 just for the influence factor, simply because we know that the fairy scene was used in Willow, basically. And also, I know that, maybe not from this film, but from the second film, one of the creatures that's in that movie actually ends up in the classic Star Tours ride. So there is some forward-going influence. And I will say this is far better than almost all of Disney Star Wars. And it's not woke, because that didn't really exist back then. So for all of its terrible flaws, I'm going to have to give this movie a 3.
Okay, so I'm revising mine to a -4.5.
We're gonna get back to the -15. Now,
He's going to zero this bitch out.
I'll just make it short and sweet. It's a 5 for me. Like, I
-9.5.
And like I said, mostly it is a horrible movie. Like, I'm not gonna pretend that this has some rosebud quality to it, but it's horrible all around. But it's still, it has a special place in my heart.
As much as I don't like Lord of the Rings, I will watch Lord of the Rings over making me watch this shit again, dude. I'll watch it 3 times, and the director's cut. I will watch them with you guys, dude. Like I would rather watch that than the Ewoks, dude. Whoo!
All right. Well, that was brutal. We'll pick a new movie during our live stream. Let's get out of here while the getting's good. I wanna go take a shower after this one. Let's take us out, Fuzzy.
All right, man. Have some love, some peace, and no Ewok grease. Just get that Popeyes grease. You know what I'm saying? Peace.
Yum nub, each up a yum nub. A tommy toppy chicken, canoop the finger. Yawa, each up a yawa. A tommy toppy chicken, canoop the